Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamunatira Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna. Thank you for coming, everyone, for tonight's Saturday satsang. Is it right, Prabhu? So, I'm not qualified to be sitting here, to be honest, but thank you for Mukunda Prabhu for letting me speak tonight, and Roop Manohar Prabhu, thank you for doing this Saturday satsang. How long have you been doing this, Prabhu? For like, yeah. 25 years. Oh, that's a long time. 25 years. Yeah. I would like to beg your forgiveness before I start speaking. I'm not very learned. I may speak something wrong. Please forgive me.
We won't forgive you, we'll correct you.
That's better. Thank you. Yep. So we observed Ram Navami like 2 days before. So I was thinking we should speak about Lord Ram. So, okay. So how many of you know about Ramayan? Little bit? Yeah. And how many of you know about the meaning of the name Ram? Sri Prabhupada says the name Ram means fulfilling. The word comes from the Rama dhatu, the Ramante, which in Sanskrit means fulfilling desire. It is said Ramante Yogina Mante. The Ananta Raman is the description of the Rama, meaning unlimited happiness. We worship Lord Ramchandra so that he may be merciful upon us to bestow his bhakti, and we are all fallen souls, so we should try to take shelter of a guru who helps us understand the philosophy and give us the understanding to the philosophy that requires to practice Krishna consciousness more. It is said the chanting of 1,000 names of Vishnu, the Vishnu Sahasranama, is equivalent to chanting one name of Lord Ram. And chanting 3 times Lord Ram's name is equivalent to chanting one name of Krishna. So the holy name is very powerful. So we should take note that we should chant at least 10 rounds, 16 rounds, or 32 rounds on daily basis. This is the verdict of Shastra, that chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra is very blissful. And in this age of Kali Yuga, that where everywhere is adharma, it's like wildfire, forest wildfire, that you cannot stop everyone. But we should follow the path of dharma and practice Krishna Bhakti on a daily basis so that we can attain life's goal with ease. Lord Ramchandra teaches us the path of righteousness. He never disobeyed his father and he was very humble towards all. So this is like personality who embodied the righteousness, dharma. And him being the personality of Godhead, he did not have to follow the orders of his parents, but he did, which shows that one should be very respectful towards the duties that they have. And he did not have to also show the feeling of separation from Mother Sita, but he did. It's just like Radha and Krishna when they were separated by Akrura came and took Krishna to where did he take? Forget. To Mathura to kill his uncle. This separation is called the Vipralamba Rasa. One who studies the Chaitanya Charitamrita understands that Viraha Rasa, which Chaitanya Mahaprabhu personifies, is to us to look into the Chaitanya Charitamrita, like what Lord Chaitanya feels and what he understands about this the mood of separation from Krishna. He is the body. He's his Krishna who is experiencing Radharani's love towards Krishna, and he's exemplifying that viraharas. The viraharas which Chaitanya Mahaprabhu personifies to us, it looks like there is agony in it, but it is very blissful. The greater the separation, the sweeter the meeting. Dravida Prabhu was talking about this 2 days back on his Bhagavatam class, so I just noted it. Lord Ram's ruling is called Ram Rajya, and he said the perfect example to how one should rule, but in order to perform his duties, he had to abandon his wife. Mother Sita was sent to exile even after they came back to Ayodhya, because one of his people said, like, I'm not like Lord Ram who took Sita back even after she went to somebody else's place. So Lord Ram has to abandon his wife, Mother Sita. And this shows that Lord Ram is always following the path of dharma, which is to do the right things. He had to go through such intense fights with Ravana, and he had to take help of monkeys to go to Lanka, build a bridge. Even after like doing all this, he had to follow the path, the righteous path, so he had to abandon her. It is said that one should follow dharma to the nth degree, which helps us advance in bhakti of Krishna consciousness and attain life's goal, as mentioned in the 6th Ashtakam, last 2 verses, which are Yugaitam Nimishena Chakshusha Praurishaitam Shunyaitam Jagat Sarvam Govinda Virhename. Translation: O Govinda, feeling your separation, I am considering a moment to be like 12 years or more. Tears are flowing from my eyes, I like torrents of rain, and I am feeling all vacant in this world without your absence. Second verse: Abhilashya Ashlishava Padaratam Pinastumam Adarshama Marmahatam Karotua Yavatatha Ladu Ulampato Mat Prananathastu Swayenamai. Translation: I know no one but Krishna as Lord, and he shall remain so even if he handles me roughly by his embrace or makes me broken-hearted by being present before me. He is completely free to do anything and everything, for he is always my worshipful Lord, or unconditionally. Lord Chaitanya is like the crown jewel among all the devotees. The, the pastimes of him performing all the bhaktis throughout his life in Jagannath Puri and in Mayapur and going all through the South India tour. So these are all like wonderful acts that he performed that enhances one's bhakti. So one should at least read Chaitanya Charitamrita once in his lifetime with pure devotion to understand what's Krishna consciousness. So one should get Chaitanya Charitamrita. If nobody has one, take one from the go down. We have more to do. And I would like to read from Back to Godhead magazine, which Dravida Prabhu wrote in 1981, a short synopsis of Ramayan. It is: millions of years ago, a king named Dashrath ruled the world from his capital city, Ayodhya, which lies about midway between present-day Calcutta and New Delhi. By his queen, Dashrath had many sons, but the jewel among them was Ramchandra, the personality of Godhead himself. Even from his youth, Rama possessed all the qualities of a leader. His magnanimity was unrivaled, and were his religious wisdoms, powers in fighting, and freedom from greed, from all the privileges of power. His strength knew no limit. He won the hand of Sita Devi, the goddess of fortune herself, by breaking a huge bow his rival suitors couldn't even lift. When the time came for the king Dashrath to retire, he naturally chose his successor, his eldest and most qualified son Rama. All Ayodhya rejoiced at hearing the news and prepared for the coronation of the beloved prince. But the coronation was to be delayed. Kaikeyi, one of the Dashrath's queen, was incited by malicious missed servants to Lord Rama ascendance to the throne. Some time before, Dasharatha had promised Kaikeyi 2 boons, but she had asked that they may be deferred. Now blinded by the envy, Kaikeyi had held Dashrath to his word and forced him to fulfill 2 wishes. First, he wanted Ram exiled to the forest for 14 years, and second, she wanted her son Bharat to be crowned as prince. Dasharatha felt Kaikeyi's demand to be like 1,000 thunderbolts striking at his head. How could he banish his most beloved son Ram on his eve of the coronation? What would become of Ayodhya? What would become of Sita? Dasharatha saw only calamity on all sides, and yet his word was his very life, and he held on to it. Rama accepted his exile cheerfully, but he worshipped his father and mother might die of grief. His father did, in fact, die of despair when Rama left Ayodhya. Nonetheless, Rama was determined to follow his father's order and come may what. When Rama told Sita and his brother Lakshman of the impending exile, they insisted on accompanying him. Thus Lord Ram, the personification of righteousness, Sita Devi, the personality of faithfulness, and Lakshman, the personality of fraternal devotion, entered the Dandaka forest for 14 years. Of course, since Ram and Lakshman are none other than personality of goddess, his first expansion, their stay in Dandaka forest proved no ordeal at all. For some time they had Sita. They and Sita lived peacefully and happily, enjoying nature's gifts and making friends with many sages, who had required to the forest of seclusion and meditation. But then came a fateful turn of events. One day, a hideous man-eating demoness named Shurpanaka came upon Ram's cottage, overwhelmed by lust, and seeing Ram's handsome figure, she attempted to seduce him. When that failed, she turned to Lakshman, but both he and Ram denied her. Shurpanaka rushed towards Sita to devour her. Ram stopped Shurpanaka and had Lakshman cut off her nose and ears to teach her a lesson. Then the demoness ran into the forest screaming in agony and vowing that her brother Ravana would avenge her humiliation. Ravana was the king of many man-eaters. By practicing severe austerities, he had won Lord Brahma the chief demigod, several boons that he gave him near invisibility. From his kingdom of Lanka, the island of the southern tip of India, the foursome Ravana and his man-eating minions would roam the earth and heavens. Ravana cared neither for God nor law or morality. Always intoxicated by the pride and ignorance as well as by strong drink, Ravana was incarnate. Ravana had several brothers who were equal to him in vileness, and one of these, named Khara, lived in the part of the Dandaka forest near Ram's cottage and led an army of man-eaters who fed the flesh of saintly hermits. From Rama's cottage, Surpanaka fled to Khara, and when he saw what Lakshman had did to her sister, he flew in rage and sent out 14,000 of his formidable warriors, who were slain by Rama and Lakshmana. But Khara didn't realize with whom he was dealing. Rama's arrows, like shafts of fire, flew from his golden bow and unerring accuracy, annihilating all Khara's army. A lone survivor escaped to Lanka to tell Ravana of his disaster, worth by the supernatural valor of Ram. Hearing Ram's exploit, Ravana thought it was wise to adopt a devious tactic rather than confront Ram directly. Ravana would kidnap Rama's beloved Sita so that Ram would die of broken heart. Not only would this plan avenge the humiliation of Shurpanaka, but also the slaughter of Khara's 14,000 warriors. But it would also provide Ravana with the consummate object of his lust. Ravana paid a visit to the warlord Maricha. Like many other demons, Maricha could change his form at will. Ravana ordered him to take the form of an irresistible, charming deer and then frisk before Sita. When the deer would run in the forest, Ravana hoped Sita would insist that Ram and Lakshman capture it for her. Left alone, Sita would be easy prey for Ravana. The ruse worked, and Ravana came before Sita disguised as a hermit. Sita welcomed him into the cottage and offered him refreshment. But suddenly Ravana cast off his disguise and declares his purpose. Despite Sita's piteous entreaties and poetic warnings, Ravana abducted Sita and carried her towards Lanka. Along the way, Ravana met and mortally wounded Jatayu, a huge bird who was a lifelong friend of King Dashrath. Jatayu tried to stop Ravana, but was no match for his world-conquering demon. When Rama and Lakshmana discovered that Sita has been kidnapped, they were overcome by the grief. In anguish, they searched everywhere, finally coming upon dying Jatayu, who told them with his last breath that Ravana had made of what Ravana had made of his wife Sita. Later, Rama learned that certain tribe of monkey warriors, headed by Hanuman and Sigriva, could find Ravana's kingdom and help Rama regain Sita. Rama and Lakshmana sealed alliance with the monkey warriors and fought them in the fiercely devoted followers. Among them all, Hanuman stands as the very emblem of faithful, dedicated servant. Being the son of wind god, Hanuman could fly, and when he learned the Ravana's kingdom lay on the other side of the island, on the island of Lanka, he used his strength to leap over the sea. All he knew was that he must find Sita and retrieve. Shrinking himself down the size of a cat, Hanuman walked freely through the fabulous city of Lanka. He finally found Sita in the heart of a dense forest called Ashoka. She was weak and in grief at her separation from her beloved Ram. Because of the demigod's curse, Ravana had been unable to force himself upon her, and she had resisted all his advances. Through the torment and had taken its toll, she was still radiant with beauty. Hanuman gave Sita one of Lord Ram's ring to prove he was a messenger, not a man-eater. Then the noble monkey suited Sita with the sweet remembrance of Lord Rama. Hanuman assured her that Ram would come and rescue her, and she sent him forth with one of her pearls so that Ram would know Hanuman had indeed found her. Before leaving Lanka, the jubilant Hanuman set a large fire to a section of city and slew thousands of Ravana's soldiers. Upon hearing Hanuman's report, Rama at once prepared to invade Lanka. He led the army of monkey warriors to the sea and told Sugriva to build a bridge of boulders across to Lanka. The faithful monkeys had no idea how such a feat could be accomplished, but the dutiful began having huge rocks into the ocean, and Rama made them float by his divine energy. Rama's legion of monkey warriors marched across the miraculous bridge to Lanka, and soon the great siege began. Ravana's men were never trained in the art of war and armed with bows and arrows, swords, and other such weapons. The untrained monkeys had only boulders and trees trunks for weapons, but they had one inseparable advantage. They were empowered by Lord Ram, the personality of Godhead himself. For some days, the two armies fought furiously with heavy casualties on both sides, and finally Rama's forces routed to the man-eaters. At last, Ravana himself had to confront Ram. Even now, the demon wouldn't believe that his power could be cut down. Rama rebuked Ravana Ravana for kidnapping Sita in his absence, and the demon in turn cast low insults at the Lord Ram. The furious battle that then ensued between Rama and Ravana lasted for days without let. The earth and the seas and the heavens were disturbed by the sheer force of their combat, and various astronomical events happened during that. Finally, Lord Ram released an arrow from his bow that struck Ravana's heart like a nuclear bomb. The demon tumbled to the ground, vomiting blood, having at last rid the world of the curse of Ravan. Rama installed Vibhishana, Ravana's pious brother, as the king of Lanka. Rama went once to Ashoka grove and found Sita. Joyfully reunited, they flew back to Ayodhya in the glorious airplane, the Pushpaka Viman. At last, Lord Ramchandra had reunited with Sita after 14 years' exile and was over, and the long-awaited coronation took part. So, yeah, that's all I have prepared. So, if there are any questions that I can answer.
Hare Krishna, thank you for the nice lecture. So I was curious, I think at some point I heard or read that Sita Devi, she was actually, the real Sita was replaced by Yogamaya Sita. And I was wondering, when did that occur in the course of the whole events? And as far as I understand, all the way to, where Lord Ram sent her out in the forest and, she went back to the earth. I mean, that was that still the Yogamaya Sita? I'm a little bit confused on that.
So when the demon Maricha, he took the form of a deer, when Lord Ram went to capture him, he shot him, and then he cried out in the Rama's voice that he needs protection, he needs help. So then Sita says that to Lakshman that you should go and help him. While going, Lakshmana made a circle of rice or grains or something, which was a boundary, like a fire boundary around that. So when Ravana was taking Mother Sita, that's when Yogamaya comes out. And when after getting Sita back, they had to do this fire trial, where Mother Sita has to pass through fire. If the fire didn't burn her, then she's unchaste. And if it burned her, that means she's chaste. So she again walks through that fire, And while walking that fire, Mother Sita comes back and Yogamaya goes back.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
So it was before the coronation, they went back and all that. Okay. Hare Krishna, thank you.
That's my understanding.
One thing
before the Maricha came and Prabhu Rama knew that this is going to happen, so then he changed his deity to Yogamaya Sita.
Maybe.
It's during that time.
Yeah.
He anticipated this happen.
Thank you.
One question I have, and don't worry, I don't have an answer to this. You might not have an answer to this. Maybe no one here has an answer to this. I haven't asked it before either. But you see in Rama Lila communication with different animals. Now, when it comes to Hanuman, well, he's not exactly a monkey; he's a Vanara, so different. So that's not that question isn't valid there. But it seems that with the chipmunk or the spider in the pastime, it seems that when building the bridge, it seems there's some communication going on, unless I'm mistaken. But more notably, there's this pastime in Valmiki Ramayana, so it's not in some other Ramayana which we're told is corrupted. Unless Valmiki Ramayana is also adulterated to some degree, but I didn't have the impression that it was. Even in Valmiki Ramayana, there's this pastime where a dog approaches, I guess, Ram's place, and I forgot which building it was, but Lakshman sees the dog and speaks to the dog speaks back, says, "I'd like to speak to Ram," and so on, and the dog's humble, but anyway, and so the dog is let into the building, speaks to Ramachandra, and gives his case. And I won't go into that whole thing. I thought about bringing it up recently, but in some other context. But one question there is, how is there a dog speaking in Rama Lila? It seems that animals they don't have, it just seems to break the whole Vedic conception when it comes to reincarnation. Animals, if you have dogs speaking and like using reasoning, like it's not just like a dog like, bow wow, I want food, but the dog is speaking, giving like premise, conclusion, like a human being. So when I hear stories like that, I know like that there's the inclination to hear something in Shastra and think, oh, this is mythology, or this is a folk tale, or this is just some story, and nothing says mythology or folk tale or story more than an animal speaking. And so here, when there's a dog speaking, someone would naturally think, oh, okay. And some people, they speak about Ram Lila, or just Lila in general, as if it's just all story, as if it's not actually history, and as if it's also kind of cute stories, and so I think when a lot of people hear this story, that in Valmiki Ramayana, this dog starts speaking to Lakshmana, goes and speaks to Ramachandra, and there's a whole resolution coming from Ram, and it's a great pastime, but they wouldn't even bat an eye. And I think the reason that some people wouldn't bat an eye is because they don't take it that seriously as history. They just think as if it's like a story. And so I'm not sure how I'd explain that. When you see animals speaking. Same thing with Narada Muni and the snake. There are other things, It starts sounding like Hitopadesh, more than Bhagavatam. Do we have any way of explaining that to someone who's taking it that way? Because most people, they'll just take it and be like, okay, a dog's speaking. It's a story. It's not real. And so is there any statement in Shastra explaining why in a different yuga a dog is speaking to humans using human reasoning?
I'm not sure if I have read anything in this manner from the Shastra, but I do believe that Lord Lakshman is the first expansion of Krishna. So he being the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he understands every creature. So he was able to understand them. Narad Muni being an elevated soul, he can understand what they are trying to say, but I don't think they actually spoke, but the bhava they were expressing, the emotions they were expressing. I think from them they understood, okay, this is what they want to try to say, and that's why it is mentioned as such.
So there's one line of reasoning.
This story may be in Bhagavad Ramayana, but in Ramcharitmanas by Tulsidas, I never heard anything like that.
But the thing is, there is that Srila Prabhupada, ranked
Yeah.
Valmiki Ramayana above the
Yeah,
other.
Ramcharan.
Yeah, so that's...
Original source, yes.
Srila Prabhupada said that he rejected it, though. That's the tricky thing.
Yeah.
He said, don't take that, take Valmiki Ramayana. That's the tricky thing. Now, anyway, so at least one line of reasoning, Rupa Madhava is giving a line of reasoning that that is less authoritative, and therefore and it's not in other, Ramacharita. But then you're giving another potential line of reasoning. Not that you aren't establishing it because you don't have a reference, but at least, floating an idea that could, if it's a valid pastime, which many would say it is, but could the resolution be that it is not a dog speaking like a human, but rather that Lakshman, being Vishnu Tattva,
Yeah.
is understanding the heart
Yes.
of the living being,
Yes.
and therefore, and then communicating, they're going,
Yeah.
and so on. As far as I'm remembering, the way it's read or the way it's translated, doesn't sound like that. But I think that's a valid, thing to throw out there as a potential resolution. Another thing I was thinking, just when we were reading recently about who is it? So Pururava and Urvashi, right?
Yeah.
In Bhagavatam class in the morning, and Urvashi is saying some very harsh things to Pururava, harsh things about him, and then she goes further and she starts criticizing women. Urvashi, she starts criticizing women and saying they're like this and they're like that, and then the idea is that this isn't just talking about Urvashi and Pururava, but the general male weaknesses or female weaknesses. And one of the ones that's highlighted there with Urvashi is the weapon or the ability of a woman to use very, very harsh words and just tear you apart. And so Urvashi does that with Pururava, and Srila Prabhupada's commentating that women have this ability in general. And with the pastime in Ramayana, when Sita says that to Lakshmana, when Ram calls out, it's really Maricha and it sounds like Ram, and then come help, and then Lakshman doesn't buy it, and Lakshman's right not to buy it.
Yeah.
And Sita, in her despair or her just anxiety, she says something really harsh to Lakshman that it was just like which is so really, really, really heartbreaking to hear her say that to Lakshman, that, oh, you just don't want to help Ram so that he can die, so that you can have me, which is like, and it's pointed out that Lakshman is so chaste and so respectful, and would never even ever consider such a thing, that he'd never even looked at Sita's face.
Yeah.
He'd only ever seen her feet. And so when someone even asked, what does Sita look like? When Sita goes missing, what does Sita look like? Lakshman says, I don't know. I never saw her face. I've only ever saw her feet. I'm always just looking down, And so even to someone like Lakshman, who's so respectful and just reveres Sita, would never, dream of exploiting her, still, this, in this moment of difficulty, then she whipped out this accusation toward Lakshman, and so it's been commented that this is an example of that propensity.
Yeah.
Hari, did you want to say something? Go ahead.
I was thinking about the pastime of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, where he got the animals in the forest to chant Hare Krishna too,
Yeah.
But I was going to ask, what are some of, let's say 3 lessons that you personally like from the Ramayan?
I was thinking of an abbreviation for Lord Ram, RAM, but I was not able to come up with A. So I just said, okay, let's leave it. So R, I was thinking righteousness, that how one should be able to understand what's the right path towards gaining Krishna consciousness, that one should always be respectful towards the elders. It's not just the parents or like in age matter, but also in bhakti. If a devotee is like much more senior to you, you should understand that, okay, whatever he's teaching, you should be able to understand. You should be able to respect them. It doesn't matter the age, but it's the bhakti, the devotion they have. So that's one thing I was thinking. Second, I was thinking is like how Lord Rama always chose the path of dharma. So he didn't have to abandon his wife after that. And when he know that there is so much separation when he is not with Mother Sita, still he chose to abandon her because he is following the path of dharma. So that's the second point. And the third point is like, in this day and age, you see that there is quarrel between brothers, like family members every time. But in Lord Ram's pastime, you see that Bharat, Lakshman, Shatrugna being sons of a different mother, but still they all had so much love towards each other. And Kaikeyi, she's portrayed as she's portrayed as one who has anger towards Lord Ram, that he is going to be king. But if you read the Ramayan, you would see like Lord Ram is more dear to Kaikeyi than his own mother. So that's one thing, that there is love. There should always be love in between everyone. That's what I have learned.
I just had a comment to what you were saying about the dog, or a couple of thoughts. So I don't know, do we really know the backstory of the dog? Because I was thinking like Bharat Maharaj, obviously he ended up taking the body of a deer and had full, regular consciousness. There's a story where I think the horse's head was on a human body, that kind of scenario. There's curses that happen. I mean, so I don't know. There's a variety of things that could explain the situation. I just don't, is there a backstory to what you described?
Yeah, I think that's smart. That's another third thing, a potential solution to the conundrum there, is that maybe it's a special dog, just like we see, different Bharat and so on. Yeah, that's another potential thing we could look for and see. Now, another thing is, why is it that what was Srila Prabhupada's concern with Ramcharitamanas? Because he voiced that concern, but why? I never really followed, never looked into. Does anyone know what was Srila Prabhupada's concern with it being? Why was he worried about it being adulterated? Does anyone know?
I can only assume that because Valmiki was the original Ramayan, the original source, everybody derived from that source. So maybe that's the reason he just wants to stick to the prime source and not go to the other views.
Okay.
But in most of India, especially in North India, Ramcharitamanas is more exclusively followed.
More followed, yeah.
And enjoyed.
Yeah, I'm really ignorant of this topic. I mean, I'm ignorant of Ramayana in general, but I'm also ignorant of like this thing with Valmiki and Ramaji. I guess I don't know anything about it. I like to look it up.
Every Indian language, Ramayan has this. So there have been little variation here and there in all variation.
To my understanding, that Ramcharitmanas was written in much more condensed manner. Not condensed, like much more easier terms to understand for
language.
Yeah, so that people of Bharata would know and understand much more easier. That's why it's more popular than Valmiki Ramayana.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I.
Is it a shorter work also then? Is it because Ramayana? No, about the same length as Ramayana. Just maybe
it is mentioned that Hanuman was the one who told Ramayan to Tulsidas ji to write it.
Okay.
But I don't know.
Okay.
How true it is, I don't have the
Just
sources
curious.
to it.
Yeah, and I'm asking questions that I suspect that maybe we have to trace out. I've never heard conversation of these things myself. So, did you?
I mean, even in most of the Ramayana also, most of the stories told by Kakapashundi. Kak is the crow. Okay, so if the crow can speak, the verses of, then the dog can also, isn't it? Maybe we have here, but he can explain things better.
There is also this point wherein Indra takes the form of a crow to go and so Sita. Yeah. So
I mean, few words about Ramcharitmanas is that it's also completely in Bhakti for us, and it's about Nam, taking the name of God. That is the main thing. In the essence of it is, always do Nam Jap. Whether Ram and Krishna are seen as, whether you take Ram or Krishna, it's the same thing. And the other thing is about the animals taking. That is not very. It's not even construed as something unimaginable. Kakbhusandi actually narrates the Ramayan, and Kakbhusandi is a crow. But he was again a very learned Brahmin in his previous life, who incurred the wrath of his guru. And so he was born as a Kakbhusandi, but he remembered everything. And even Lord Shiva goes to listen to Ramayan from him. So talking about animals talking in different languages, this doesn't sound anything contrary to experience in Bhakti Marg, because we are all same jivas in different forms. So, we are jivas in different forms, whether in animal form or human form. But the higher level, those who have achieved the higher level of consciousness in Bhakti, they can speak whatever body they are in. That's what my understanding.
And also that
I can also add that Valmiki Ramayan, the Valmiki portrayed Ram as a hero, as a king, as a warrior, whereas in Ramcharitmanas is more like as a god, and more in the path of bhakti. It should be more in line with our way of thinking, the Ramcharitmanas than Valmiki Ramayan.
Seems Srila Prabhupada emphasizes Ramayana by Valmiki as more in line with our line.
Is that right?
That's the effort. I don't know why.
I have not read Valmiki Ramayan too much, so I don't know. But Ramcharitmanas, after every line, it says worship, chanting, Nam Japo, things like that. So I think Ramcharitmanas is more for the common man.
it can also be that Ramcharitmanas was kind of written in much more closer to Kali Yuga that people could understand. So that's why they prefer Ramcharitmanas over Valmiki's Ramayana, because it was written in the Treta Yuga. So it can be like lost, refound or something. So that's why Ramcharitmanas is more considered in northern India. But I would say Valmiki's Ramayana is right, because he wrote it while the events were going on, before that or something. So he has more understanding of what's going on. So that yeah.
Thank you for giving thoughts. Thank you everyone for your discussion. It was very nice.
Thank you very much. So we'll have